Happy Tuesday, everyone. Goodness me, I love Tuesdays. One of my favorite days. I love Tuesdays because I get to be here with this amazing group. I also love Wednesdays because on Wednesdays we have two open coaching calls inside our Radiant Health Reset community, the paid community. I love every day of the week. And I am just having the best week this week. I'm so excited. There's so much exciting stuff going on. We have the Radiant Health Experience Sunshine Coast Retreat, which is coming up in 2 weeks. It's the 6th to the 9th of August, so I'm really, really pumped about that. We have two places left in the Radiant Health Experience Sunshine Coast Retreat. And then we have Bali. After that, we have the Bali Reset in September, which I think there's maybe two places available still for Bali. So both of them are very, very close to sold out. If you are interested in joining us in either Sunshine Coast in August or Bali in September, then you need to let me know as soon as possible. Perhaps you could just type the word retreat in big capital letters, and I will reach out to you with a little bit more information. I haven't even introduced myself yet. We got off to a flying start. My name is Tori Vallon. Oh, Natalie's here. Good day, Natalie. Lovely to have you with us, darling. My name's Tori Vallon. I'm a women's integrative nutrition and lifestyle coach. I'm also a functional weight loss specialist. Today's training, I want to talk about this because there are a lot of women out there who are feeling pretty tired. They struggle with brain fog. They're in the middle of a sentence and the vocabulary suddenly drops out. They might be struggling with weight. They might have thinning hair. They go to the GP and they ask, should I get my thyroid tested? Only to be told a little while later, well, your thyroid is fine. And then they walk out if they're a little bit confused because they don't feel fine at all. And then they go blaming their symptoms on a bunch of other things, which we'll talk about in a moment. So let's break this down today. What I want by the end of this session is for you to understand why by being told that your thyroid is fine and being told that your test results are normal is not the same as having a healthy thyroid. And I want to teach you exactly what you can ask for so you don't get dismissed again and you don't go in with no answers. So the thread that we're weaving today through this teaching is you got a thyroid test, but it wasn't comprehensive. Okay, so on this topic of normal is not the same as good. Normal is not the same as good. The tests we're getting are only telling a little part of the story, not even half the story. Oh, Jenny's here. Good morning, Jenny. Jenny's working with me through Radiant Health Research. She's had some fabulous results. I love when Jenny joins our calls. So let me start by saying you did the right thing. You did a good thing. A responsible thing. You noticed symptoms in your body, you felt off, you didn't feel as good as you could feel, and you went to a doctor to talk about them. You spoke up about your symptoms and you said, hey, I'm tired and I can't lose weight, or whatever you said. My hair's thinning, or I can't think straight. I get confused a lot of the time and overwhelmed, or I feel a little depressed, or I'm a little constipated. So fabulous. You did the right thing. They ran a blood test and the result came back and you got told your thyroid is fine. And then you left and went home and felt very confused. But that's not your fault. You did the right thing. The fact that you didn't get the answers you deserved is the fault of a system that is letting women down right now. My beautiful client, Jenny, who's here, she'll probably step on her soapbox because she feels as passionate about this as I do because she works in the healthcare system and she sees this. Women are being let down by a system that isn't working well for us right now. Currently, in most countries around the world, When GPs check thyroid, they run a test that includes one marker, sometimes two, but very often women come to me and they've had one marker checked. One check, TSH. And TSH is not even a thyroid hormone. It's a pituitary hormone. And, it doesn't, all that TSH measures is how loudly your brain is shouting for your thyroid to work and respond. It doesn't actually tell us anything about what your thyroid is actually producing after that. And it doesn't tell us anything about, once your thyroid has produced something, how well are we then converting into an active, usable form of a hormone that our cells can actually use, that our cells actually need. And that one marker, TSH, doesn't tell us whether the thyroid tissue itself is in good condition or whether it's actually beginning to deteriorate under the load of disease. You can have a perfectly normal TSH and have significant thyroid problems. You could have a variety of significant thyroid problems, actually. So that number, TSH, is not the whole picture. It's an incomplete answer to an incomplete question. We're looking at the wrong thing if we truly want to assess a woman's thyroid health and thyroid function. If we wanted to make a reasonable assessment get a real picture of how well the thyroid is producing and functioning and thyroid hormone conversion is working, we need TSH, yes, it's useful, but we also need free T4 and we need free T3 and we need reverse T3, and we want to look at antibodies also, at least two of them, TPO and TG. Anything less than that is not a true assessment of a woman's thyroid health. It's just a glance at a particular thing, but not even the thing that's going to help you understand why you have your symptoms. From time to time, some of you guys will know this, from time to time I run free challenges inside this Facebook group. And if you haven't been to one before, then come along. But one day I came out with this analogy and it was so good that I used it again and again and again. And I talk about the pizza analogy for our thyroid. If you and your family, or you and your partner, or you and a group of friends decide you want to have a takeaway pizza and you want it delivered to your home, just picking up your phone and dialing the number and talking to the pizza shop is not going to result in a pizza being delivered to your door and you eating a pizza, because there's all these other steps that need to take place also, right? You dialing the number and talking to the pizza shop is an important part of ending up with a pizza in your belly. So measuring TSH on its own is like checking that someone called the pizza shop. If we check TSH and TSH is in reasonable, it might even be optimal. We're checking, did a phone call take place? Did someone ring the pizza shop? But it doesn't tell you beyond that. Did they then make a pizza? Did they put it in the oven? Did they take it out and put it in a delivery vehicle and bring it to the door, and did we eat it? Because all of those things are important. If you want to actually have your dinner and have a pizza in your belly, it takes more than just making a phone call, right? Any number of things could go wrong from that point onwards, and your thyroid is the same. So that's why we need to look at a little more than just TSH. TSH just tells us that the brain is talking to the thyroid, and it's talking really, really loudly, or it's talking too softly, but it doesn't tell us anything beyond there. The good news is, if we're going to continue with the pizza shop analogy and getting a pizza delivered, we can find out about different stages. We can find out, did they receive the call at the other end? Did they begin to make the pizza? Did they put the pizza in the oven? Did they put it in the car? And did it get delivered to the right address? And did somebody eat it? If we apply that to the thyroid, all of those little elements are knowable and find out aboutable. Just invented a word. Find out aboutable. I like that. You just have to know what to ask for. Does that make sense to you guys? Please let me know in the comments. You can let me know if you like my pizza analogy. And you can let me know if that makes sense to you, that measuring this one marker and being told that that one marker is okay doesn't mean there's nothing wrong with your thyroid. Even if they measure two markers, they might measure TSH and T4. That's like, well, someone called the pizza shop and they put the dough on the bench and they sprinkled on some toppings. Okay, did they put it in the oven? Like, this is not enough information. Does that make sense to you guys? Please let me know in the comments. You can give me a thumbs up. Yes, Natalie. So what you need to know, I just mentioned it before, but let me repeat it. You need TSH, you need free T4, you need free T3, you need reverse T3, and you also need to check antibodies. And Natalie, because you're in one of my programs, you're coming to Radiant Health Experience, we will go through this, darling. If you want to go through it in detail, you have that support available to you. What to ask for. And then always ask for your results. If you're working with me, always ask for your results so that we can go through them together and what they mean and what optimal is, because you don't want to just fall within the reference range. Believe me, there's a whole lot of disease happening inside that reference range. You want to be optimal, and it's going to differ from marker to marker. Okay, so you want a full assessment. You don't want to just look at one little piece. All right, Natalie, you and me will work on that together. A concern of mine is that women will blame thyroid symptoms on other things, especially when they get told by their GP, your thyroid's fine, there's nothing wrong with your thyroid. So then if they feel fatigued, they might blame that on perimenopause, or if they can't lose weight, they might just blame that on their age, or they might blame it on eating too much, and they might try and cut down what they're eating, which is going to cause even worse thyroid problems if they're under eating. Their brain fog, sometimes they think, oh my God, I have some sort of neurological disease. This is early onset dementia, or maybe it's just stress. You're so welcome, Natalie. Yeah, pizza analogy makes sense. Natalie gave me a little pizza emoji, pizza slice emoji, thank you. If women have hair that's thinning, they might just blame it on reproductive hormones, or, if they've got cold hands all the time, they might blame that on something else. Oh, it's just my iron levels. But all of those symptoms are very likely not random and separate from each other, especially if you have a cluster of those symptoms. Those symptoms are recognizable and more than likely interconnected symptoms of thyroid dysfunction, hypothyroidism. Do you know what? This is really quite shocking to share. But in Australia, in USA, UK, Canada, in the developed world, the most common cause of a slow and sluggish thyroid, which we call hypothyroidism, the most common cause is Hashimoto's disease. Isn't that unbelievable? Oh, Jenny's here. Hi, Jenny. We haven't seen you for a little while, darling. The most common cause of a slow, sluggish thyroid, of hypothyroidism, is actually Hashimoto's disease. Women, many women who actually have Hashimoto's disease, it remains subclinical, undiagnosed for years and years because their TSH, which was the only marker that anyone ever measured, stays in the normal range. Meanwhile, the immune system continues to attack the thyroid, and the thyroid tissue becomes destroyed. So you can have subclinical hypothyroidism, by which I mean it's not bad enough that it's going to show up in the markers that GPs typically check. You could have subclinical hypothyroidism. You could even have Hashimoto's disease. You could have both of those. And it just simply hasn't been tested for because your GP was just looking at your TSH. What's Hashimoto's? Hashimoto's disease is an autoimmune condition where your immune system slowly attacks your thyroid gland. Number one cause in the developed world of slow, sluggish thyroid function. Because the way that we diagnose it is by using antibody markers that standard testing doesn't look at, that GPs are not looking at. Isn't that sad? I just want to pause on that for a moment. Isn't that such a shame that a woman could have Hashimoto's disease for years and she could be losing her thyroid tissue because GPs are looking at markers but don't measure the disease? So let's empower ourselves. The system's broken, okay? So we're going to take the power back into our hands. If you've been dismissed and you've been told your thyroid's fine, perhaps don't accept that. Perhaps return and say, actually, the cluster of symptoms I have all sound like thyroid to me. Could we do a comprehensive panel, a full thyroid panel with all those markers that I just mentioned, TSH, T4, free T3, reverse T3, and thyroid antibodies, TPO and TG? Because your body is talking to you, it's giving you signs, and those signs are connected. They're not random symptoms that we address differently for each of them. I've had many women over the years come to me for help, and one of the first things they'll say is, there's nothing wrong with my thyroid. I'm having trouble losing weight, and my hair is thinning, and I'm tired all the time, and I have this kind of dry skin all over my body, but there's nothing wrong with my thyroid. And I say, oh, good. In my head, I'm thinking, yes, there is. But I say, oh, okay. How do you know? Because my GP tested my thyroid, and my thyroid is fine. And I say, did you request copies of your panel? And sometimes they'll say yes, sometimes they'll say no. If they did request copies, then we can go through them together and talk about what those markers mean in context with the entire panel. And, I want to say it's almost never the case that a woman, it's not going to be the case that a woman would come to me struggling with weight. She feels cold all the time and she's got brain fog and she's exhausted and her hair's thinning and her skin is dry and she's constipated and depressed and her thyroid's fine. It doesn't work like that. There is something wrong with the thyroid. And the good news is it's fixable here's the thing. Provided we catch these things early enough, they're very reversible. But damage to the thyroid tissue, this is where it gets really hard. Autoimmune disease we can work with. Hashimoto's is autoimmune disease. We can work with that on an immune level. We can't really restore tissue that's been damaged. So women, you got to know this stuff. Reach out to me if you have these symptoms so we can talk about it. All right. Now, throwing perimenopause in there, and if you're watching me, you're either in perimenopause now or you're on the other side of perimenopause and you're menopausal now, postmenopausal. It kind of creates a bit of a perfect storm because there's a few extra things that are going on in perimenopause that wouldn't ordinarily be an issue if in isolation. A lot of women reach perimenopause and they may have had thyroid symptoms kind of simmering away, but they didn't know, and they may have been dismissed by their GP. And they kind of got through until perimenopause. And then it feels a bit like overnight, everything just fell apart. Oh my God, my body just fell apart in perimenopause. And then the symptoms get blamed on perimenopause. But thyroid and perimenopause, sluggish thyroid, hypothyroidism, and I'm talking about hypothyroidism because it's the most common form of thyroid dysfunction. And it's the one that most women come to me with. Hypothyroidism and perimenopause are a bit of a perfect storm together that exacerbate each other because through perimenopause, your estrogen levels are going to fluctuate as they decline. Like they don't just smoothly tail off for most women because of our lifestyles that we choose, diet and lifestyles that we choose, they'll do this, which is uncomfortable and creates symptoms. The fluctuating estrogen changes how much thyroid hormone is actually available to our cells. And women come into perimenopause and they'll often have chronically elevated cortisol levels for a variety of reasons that I talk about a lot in these free sessions. Chronically elevated cortisol shuts down conversion of T4 into free T3, which is the form of thyroid hormone that our body can actually use for benefit. And then in perimenopause, a lot of women are struggling with gut dysfunction also. And when your gut is struggling, then your thyroid is struggling too. Yes. Okay. Look, Jenny's just asked a really important question. I'm just going to quickly address this because it is relevant to what I'm talking about right now. Jenny's question is, Tori, I see a lot of patients on thyroxine. If T4 is not converting well to free T3, does that mean that more thyroxine is creating more issues? Sometimes, Jenny. Yeah, sometimes. Jenny, if you were struggling to make a pizza because you just had so much stress on and you're like really, really struggling to put the topping on properly and slide it into the oven, is it going to help you if I just give you more dough? I mean, maybe, but maybe not. Like maybe you'd be like, okay, that's just what I needed, more dough, because you were making a pizza really slowly. Maybe the holdup was that you didn't have enough dough. But also maybe that wasn't the problem. Maybe the problem was you were just under too much stress and you're becoming flustered. And thyroid hormone conversion is a little bit like that too. T4 is the raw material. Ideally, we want to create as much free T3 as possible, but many women are creating reverse T3 that puts the brakes on our metabolism, puts the brakes on everything. If we just give her more of the raw material, does that mean she's automatically going to be a better converted? No. No. She might take that raw material and make even more reverse T3 with it. So we have a problem with how we treat hypothyroidism, Jenny, that you've just correctly identified. It's not going to fix the problem, just simply giving her more of the raw material. Now, it may help. I see that it does help for some women sometimes. But what we want to do is we want to fix the conversion problem. Yeah? Yeah, you've got you. Okay, Jenny's saying gotcha. Good. What we want to do is we want to teach her how to be a better converter so that if there is plenty of pizza dough available, she will be amazing. Getting those pizzas, topping on, sliding them into the oven. They get to the houses, they get into people's bellies. That's what I want to do, is teach her how to be a good pizza maker. Then she can take all that dough and be really efficient with it. Instead of, I don't know, throwing it in the bin because she felt so overwhelmed. And that's a little bit what is happening. If you throw it in the bin, nobody gets fed. Same with thyroid. If you take that T4 and you're making more reverse T3, the tissues in the body are not fed with what they're looking for in order to function well. So, yes, perimenopause creates even more pressure in the pizza shop, if you like, because women are very stressed, chronically elevated cortisol. They're not the best pizza makers at this stage in their life. Now, there's lots of levers we could work with to make that a little bit better, which is exactly what I teach my women to do, as Jenny's experienced. But I just wanted to mention the gut as well, because a lot of women who come to me have dysfunction in the gastrointestinal tract. Where there is dysfunction, where there is imbalance, this is a problem for thyroid too, because about 20% of hormone conversion is occurring in the gut. And if your gut is struggling, then your thyroid's going to struggle too. All right. And look, if you've got inflammation, systemic inflammation in the body, this is going to make the body less responsive to the thyroid hormone you're making as well. So if you had a thyroid that was just getting by, and maybe you didn't notice so much, there wasn't a lot of excess weight yet, your hair wasn't falling out too much, then you get to perimenopause and those hormonal shifts are gonna like really make it so your thyroid cannot keep up much at all now. Extra hormonal load, extra inflammatory load, extra stress chemistry load. It's gonna unpack, fall apart, okay? So one of the main points of today that I want you to know is your thyroid doesn't just fail out of nowhere for no reason. It fails because of the environment we put it in and expect it to function. And every single piece of this pizza shop journey is addressable, But we have to get the right data to find out. We're going to find out what's happening at this stage. Now, what's happening at this stage? The best way to do that when we first start learning that maybe thyroid is an issue for me is to look at a comprehensive panel, the one that we discussed. All right, let me say it again. So it is TSH, that's helpful too, but it's also T4 and it's also free T3 and it's reverse T3 and it's antibodies, TPO and TG also. So there were a few other things I wanted to talk about, but I've gone a little over time. Gosh, I really feel like I could talk about thyroid all day because it's something that women really need to know about. I deeply want women to understand. Come join Radiant Health Reset. You will learn all about it. Or, as Natalie is, come along to Radiant Health Experience because we're going to cover the deeper hormone. We're going to embody the work and learn how our choices in what we eat and what we drink and how we think and how we move are all impacting our thyroid also. If you only remember one thing from today, I want you to remember that having a normal test result does not mean you have a healthy thyroid. You don't want to be normal on a test result. Actually, you want to be optimal. So don't accept normal and make it mean my thyroid is healthy. Thyroid doesn't fail randomly. It fails as a result of the environment we're asking it to operate in, and we can change the environment. We can support the environment that your thyroid is in. Okay, ladies, don't forget Radiant Health Experience, our Sunshine Coast retreat. If you want to come along, if you want more information, we only have 2 places left and then we're sold out. If you want to come to Radiant Health Experience, please comment retreat in big capital letters, so I know you want more information. We also have Bali in September, the Bali Reset. If you want to come along to the Bali Reset, please comment, just comment retreat and I'll reach out and find out which one you're talking about, whether it's our Sunshine Coast retreat or our Bali Reset retreat. It has been so beautiful being here with you today talking thyroid. I can't wait to talk to you next week on our next deep dive into a topic that affects women over the age of 40. If you've enjoyed this video, please tell your friends, tell women you know over 40 about this amazing group where we come together, we learn, and then we put things into action. Have an amazing day, everyone. I will see you all soon. Bye now.